Hello, everyone, and welcome to my den. Yeah, we got episode 8 of The Witch from Mercury, Their Choice. This episode literally begins with the Earth Dorm being like, what the hell just happened last episode? With the whole starting of a new company and whatnot. How's she even going to do that? You're a student. You don't have any employees. Just have Miorine basically walk right in and go, boom, I own you. This is my company. And I'm like, well, that's on brand for Miorine, just coming in and just announcing something, just being in charge because she's spoiled princess and she's going to be in charge. But the fact that we get our title card at the very end of the cold open is bizarre. It literally comes in, that scene, title card, opening sequence. Sure, why not? The episode then progresses with the students of the Earth Dorm basically going like, should we, shouldn't we? This is crazy. We don't really have what's required to be helping run her company. Should we even be working with the Spacians? And who is she making the Gundams for? And what's their purpose? Meanwhile, Miorine and Suletta go visit Lady Prospera in order to get information about the Ariel and its system specs, which she quickly gives to Miorine like it's no big deal. And then Suletta ends up asking, why didn't you tell me Ariel was a Gundam? And basically, Prospera gives her a very like, oh, well, you know, people don't like Gundams and their pilots and stuff, so I wanted to save you from that and whatever. And Suletta is immediately like, okay, that solves all my questions, moving on. And I'm like, do you ever think it's weird that your mom refers to the Ariel as her daughter? Do you ever think it's weird, like, all these other aspects of the company? How she developed a super powerful mobile suit on Mercury? None of that? No? Alright, cool. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever. Suletta, stop being dumb, please. I understand that you don't ask those questions because those are supposed to be questions for the audience to kind of be focusing on right now, but it gets really annoying when your main character is so oblivious to other stuff happening around them. On their flight back, they run into Shattuck, of all people. Why was he on that flight? But his main goal, of course, is to flirt around with the two girls and to basically ask to be involved in the company, which Miorine flat out denies. And Suletta ends up picking up out of this that Shattuck has feelings for Miorine, which, whether or not he does, we'll get that into the character section, but Miorine is just having none of it. We then have Miorine trying to convince the Earth Dorm into actually being part of this company. We also get a nice little moment of Shattuck and Guel, with Shattuck offering him a position in his dorm where he could get himself cleaned up and what have you. And of course, Guel's the whole like, no one can offer me stuff. I refuse to take people's charity. Guel's pride, baby. It's the name of an episode, and it's his defining character trait, apparently. You get some interesting little moments like Guel talking about, you never challenged me to a duel, and Shattuck kind of playing that off like, oh, you know, you were already kind of in charge of stuff. The heck do I care? Which is interesting because it's been played up that Shattuck and Miorine clearly had some stuff going on when they were younger, and I think that's what Guel is alluding to, but I can't be entirely certain. We also get to see Miorine at Pell Technologies, asking them about the Faract and about that whole program, and we get some kind of inconclusive answers there as well. Finally, we get kind of Miorine really thinking about, you know, why people want Gundams, why people hate Gundams, and all that kind of stuff. And she finds a very unique way of getting the dorm together to really start looking at this company seriously. And that's about all I can say without spoilers. So let's move on to the characters that got some focus this week. Those would be Miorine and Shattuck. Miorine is still a bit of a spoiled princess. She's definitely still bossy and commanding, but in a way that kind of is necessary for developing your own Gundam manufacturing company. In addition to that, we do see her being more pensive and thoughtful as she's trying to put this information she's gathering together to find a way to market a machine that is called cursed and evil and etc. to the public. It feels like we should have gotten a little more time with her breaking that down instead of just having the Earth Dorm go back and forth. But we get the gist of what she was planning, and I think that's enough for this episode. I like seeing the more thoughtful, thinking side of Miorine. Just like last episode where she came up with the plan to market Gundams in order to save the Ariel, we're seeing how she's pushing that forward, which was one of my big questions from last week. So it's great seeing that happen. Shattuck, on the other hand, is an interesting character, and we learned quite a bit about him in this episode. First off, we learned that he was an orphan who was adopted. We know that his father wants Shattuck to shut down the Gundam program and to basically destroy Gundams. He even says over the phone that he's going to send over some anti-Gundam mobile suits. We also get a little more depth into the relationships he has with other students. We see him have a heart-to-heart with Miorine about, the meaning of the Gundams, why people like Gundams, why people hate Gundams, and even bringing up the business proposal they had teamed up on that got shut down because both their parents were against it. We see him tell Guel that I'm fond of you, and I don't think he means it in a romantic way. I think he means it in like a whole, you're my friends, stop living in a tent. We see him with a few of the other dorm mates, two gals who did not look familiar to me at all, that are clearly part of his scheming, and we'll probably learn more about as his house comes to the forefront. On the aesthetic side of things, not a lot I can talk about here. No new mech designs. Yeah, we get the names of a couple units that we already knew existed, because toys, but we haven't seen them in the series yet. That leads us to our conclusion. Personally, I liked this episode. I liked seeing the Earth Dorm characters get a little more personality to them. We also get introduced to like a girl version of Biscuit, who is very upbeat and seems to figure out a lot of the math and the numbers. I don't know if she's going to remain kind of in the background or if she's going to end up having more story as the arc continues. I like the fact that more Earth Dorm people are getting a focus. It is another episode of no action, but that's fine. There's plenty of episodes of no action. In fact, this one kind of reminded me of some of those earlier Iron-Blooded Orphans episodes where they're taking CGS and turning it into Tekkadan. And during that time period where they're trying to figure stuff out, when they're working with Naze and getting new people into their organization to make their mercenary company function more like a company. And I really like that kind of world building and character building that this provides. Obviously, there's going to be some drama next episode. They already alluded to it at the end of this one. And I'm interested to see where things go. And I like the fact that we can get that Gundam drama without it being like a CW drama. And instead, it's more like corporate espionage and behind the scenes deals. I'm really looking forward to seeing how all that is going to pay off in the next episode. It's going to be a quick one. Let's get to some spoilers. So there's not a lot I can really spoil in an episode that's more or less people trying to decide what to do with the Gundam company, but there are a few things I can bring up. First off, I love the fact that Miorine finds an old promotional video for the Gund's technology, and you actually get to see Dr. Cardo there talking about their project, the hopes for saving people from space because of all the different difficulties of space. And you see people with different kinds of mechanical limbs and what have you in the video, and that was their original thing that obviously Gundams spawned off of. And Miorine wanting to revive that technology to help people. The fact that Choo-Choo makes a little comment about how she comes from a mining town and people have lost limbs. And by, if this technology succeeds, she can help the people of her hometown, and that's the most important thing to her. I like seeing that kind of stuff. I also like the maturity of the discussion about, well, if we make Gundams, who are we selling them to? Just everybody? And, or do we make the mobile suits for Earth? But if we do that, are we going to cause a war between Earth and space? All these kind of issues that come with developing a very powerful weapon. And secondary minor things, like how nigh impossible it would be to mass produce the Ferroct or the Ariel because of how expensive it is and the technology involved. The big moment of this episode is Shattuck basically revealing, I am putting down the pieces and manipulating the rules so I can take over Gundam Inc. And I love that. Like, you see him doing the whole, Miorine, how about we get married and work together on this project? I can provide resources and other things that you might need. And then eventually just being like, oh, screw it. I'm gonna abuse the system and try to steal the company. I love that. It makes him such a slimier guy, knowing that that's like his plan. He's like, God, he wasn't even like subtle with it, of the whole he wants to be involved in this, to the point that he's willing to bend the rules to get what he wants. And it's a good payoff for him just kind of being there in the background, flirting around a little bit with some of the ladies, just kind of being there like, oh yeah, I'm just a nice guy, I'm just a good guy, I'm a good looking dude. Don't wear my uniform properly, and I got long hair, I'm a pretty boy, I'm cool, everyone's cool, you guys all love me. And then turn out to be like yeah, I'm gonna steal your freaking company because I want the Gundam technology for myself. We don't know his full reason for wanting the Gundam technology. We do know he disagrees with his father, that he believes the Gundam technology should remain around and not be destroyed, that he wants to convince his father that Gundams are worthwhile. But I'm getting kind of that McGillis vibe off of him, where his orphan childhood puts him in a position of wanting to kind of deal some damage to the system that led to him being an orphan in the first place. And I might just be looking a little too into it, but there are a lot of iron-blooded orphans, parallels in this series that I've seen thus far. Perhaps it's a revenge scheme where he wants the weapons. Perhaps it's a power grab, showing an orphan going to the position of being the top of the Benneret group. Maybe it is something more sinister. Who knows? But I like the fact that appearing as someone that I was fairly certain was going to be a villain to begin with, just because of his weird, quiet, sly nature, seeing him make his move now that Elon is basically out of the picture and Guel is basically out of the picture, he now, as kind of the face of his branch, can take the power he wants. And I think his reason for trying to get Guel involved was to have him there as muscle. He's going to need someone there to support him. He can't do everything on his own with his group. It seems like his dorm might be the weakest of the three main groups. And if that's the case, then, he's going to need a little muscle, someone who has some popularity, and obviously having a talented pilot in, say, one of the anti-Gundam units, just in case things get a little out of hand, might not be a bad thing. But again, that's all speculation on my part. Even though we got to know a lot more about Shattuck in this episode, he is still a very secretive guy, and we don't know the full extent of his plans just yet. But I think that's going to be a key element of the next episode. Finally, just to end on a silly fun note, I really, really liked the stupid PR video they made for Gundams, where you got like the stupid song that's sung by the Earth Dorm. You got Suletta like doing a whole talking points as to what Ariel is, and then the silly dance sequence at the end. And I'm like, this is so dumb. I kind of love it. And then to, of course, wrap it up with the voiceover talking about how, we're going to take this cursed technology and use it to make humanity better through medical systems. Because I would have assumed the Gund systems that assist the disabled were already like a common thing, and apparently those have been removed as well. Like, we're getting that iron-blooded orphans, no body modification. You're not allowed to put cybernetic parts into people. It's wrong. And it seems like this world has that rule as well. And you have Miorine and friends basically trying to say, hey, this can save lives, make the world a better place, so we should totally do it. You can see that the characters have their heart in the right place. They're trying to do good. And this is Gundam, so that's not going to end well for anybody, I assure you. As a wrap up, I just want to say that I liked this episode. I like the fact that we've been getting some more character focus episodes rather than just jump in the robot and have yet another duel. This isn't really going the Utena route where every single episode Utena had to duel somebody because we needed to use that last 10 minutes of our episode for a duel, and then a last little minute or two of the characters going like, man, I learned something today about adolescence and how tough it is. Instead, what we're getting is that political and corporate drama that Prologue promised, and I'm glad we're finally getting it. I'm glad we're kind of slipping some of that shipping wars stuff to the side so we can actually have a real plot. And I know, like Iron-Blooded Orphans, it's still always going to kind of be there. When Guel gets over his depression, he's still going to try to pursue Suletta. And we all know that Shattuck wouldn't mind to just have Miorine as his bride if necessary in order to achieve his goals. Not that that's romance by any means, but it's there. I mean, heck, when Shattuck was flirting with Nika in the previous episode, people were already drawing shipping art of the two of them. All you need is two characters to talk to each other for people to do that. Heck, I'm sure because of Shattuck's little "I'm fond of you" line to Guel, the artwork's already out there. You can go find it, you shipper types. It ain't for me, but I'm sure that exists. All that aside, let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode. Hit that thumbs up if you liked my review. And until next time, I'm the Dapper Bard, and I'll see you at the tavern.